Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat League video. Today we're going to be showcasing Shadow, Alolan, Sandslash in the Ultra League, and we're going to be having a look to see if this Pokemon's worth building or not. It is a Pokemon that I do want to build for Ultra League, because I think it's a nice core breaker. You've got so much coverage with Drill Run and Ice Punch that you can of course hit Flyers, you can hit Dragon types. With Drill Run you can hit things like Galarian Stunfisk. I think the match against Swampert would be pretty rough, and this is what I'm interested to see with this team. From the looks of things, we're about triple weak to Swampert. The opponent goes straight for the Brave Bird, and they've swapped into Swampert. Now typically you see Pidgeot, we're going for a Zap Cannon here, I guess we're going for the debuff. Typically you see Pidgeot lined up with Cobalion, so we'll see what the team is. We do get the debuff, and that could help us out quite a lot here. I think we're going to have to look to try and deal with Swampert with Ampharos. We are swapping out 2 Toxicroak here, and at this point the Mud Shots are going to do a lot less damage, and of course the Hydro Cannons will do a lot less damage. Anyway everybody, welcome to the video. Big shout out to Aplet for sending in these battles here. If you do want to send in some battles, feel free to do so. Link in the description down below. And make sure you send in at least 2 sets if you want a reaction. We're actually throwing off the Sludge Bomb, which will be resisted here. So a couple of times we've thrown the wrong move here, but we do seem to be just about dealing with the Swampert, so we'll probably come in with Sandslash, try to get ahead on energy. Because of course we do have the Ampharos for the Pidgeot, and we're going to see what comes in here. They can't really come in with Pidgeot, and they do come in with Cresselia. Anyway guys, we're going to hop into the video. I want you to let me know in the comment section down below, what is your favourite Pokemon that's been buffed this season? For me it's by far this Pokemon. I know Dugong has been super popular, Walrein is definitely getting a little bit more play with the buffed Icicle Spear. For sure, let me know your favourite new Pokemon, and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's hop into these battles here. Aplet did put down that he wants a little bit of coaching as well, to try and obviously improve his gameplay a little bit. In comes Pidgeot, this thing's going to get absolutely one-shot, and that's what I'm quite liking about the Sandslash right here. It's core-breaking Cresselias, core-breaking Giratinas. Of course, you will get one-shot by things like Reggie, but you can get off multiple Drill Runs and you can outpace the Reggie. I feel like this is such a good Pokemon here, and we do reach the Ice Punch just in time. There's a couplet coming at the end of the season, which will be the Fantasy Ultra Cup. Now that was one of the most popular cups amongst everybody last season, and basically it's just Fairy types, Dragons, and Steel types. Like Galarian Stunfisk and Cobalion will be banned for that cup, which are like the 2 hardest counters for this in that cup. So if you're thinking about building this Pokemon, it could be really strong in that league, and I highly recommend maybe doing so. Now we've got a Runerigus lead here. This is, I think, a decent enough lead, although they do know Sand Tomb, which can be a little bit rough. The opponent does go for the catch and Toxicroak, and we're going to look to maybe swap into our own Toxicroak here. This team is in general just a little bit weak to Mud Boys and a little bit weak to Ground, and we are seeing 2 Ground in this team. We're going to let one of these go. Mud Bomb coming for it does so much damage. If the opponent decides to shield us up, we could be in a little bit of trouble here, so we're just hoping that they let this go. We've got the backwards cap here on this thing, so we're lucky enough they let it go, and we'll see what they come back in with. Probably Runerigus to go for the farm down. They will have to eat one move here most likely. Yeah, we're going to go for this move. Of course, Sludge Bomb will be double resisted on this thing, so you do want to go for this move instead. So we're getting a little bit of a chip in this thing, and I think we'll most likely come back in with Ampharos. We don't really want to get hit by a Sand Tomb. This thing can know Rock Tomb as well, so we'll see what it's on here. We go straight for the big Shadow Ball, and that's a really good shield here. We're going to look to go straight for the Brutal Swing, and you know, if I was making this team myself, I can understand being maybe like double weak to Swampert. To be fair, like Ampharos does okay against Swampert, like it's not like completely dead, and Toxicroak does pretty well against Swampert as well, like it does okay against it, right? So maybe it's not super weak, but I think in general I would just be a little bit afraid of Swampert sweeping the entire team here, so it's maybe a little bit tricky to build around. The opponent goes for the Blast Burn, that absolutely one-shots, but we're going to look to farm this thing down, not before they go for a Dragon Claw. We're going to shield this up, because it will chunk for sure, and at this point we need to reach 2 Brutal Swings. I think the opponent, they're probably going to take this one here. They do go for the Shadow Ball, and that's going to be a good game. Yeah, so the opponent was running double Ground, which is just a little bit tough. We have really good answers for Flyers, but we're just a little bit weak to that. You could consider running this team with maybe like Trevenant and Virizion, with Sandslash and Ampharos. I'm just kind of brainstorming off the top of my head here. But then you would have, you know, of course 2 Pokemon that are strong against flying types, and you would have like a grass type, which would look to deal with Swampert. So in comes Jellicent, really positive lead here. The opponent of course can go for, but they do go for a catch on. Is this going to be a Alolan Ninetales? Or normal Ninetales? This will be interesting. It is Alolan. Very nice catch by the opponent, and we're going to come in here with our Toxicroak. Now this thing, it does hurt, but I think they just went straight for the Weather Ball right here. So this is perfect. We can just let this go, and at this point we can look to either bait the Sludge Bomb or go straight for it. We are going for the bait here. The opponent may let this go. We'll have a look here. The opponent does let it go, and yeah, they're going to fire off another Weather Ball. I think we might just about survive this, and it's going to be pretty close to who gets the knockout first. Yeah, we do get to the move in time. So I think the opponent will let this go, look to come in for a farm down, and we'll see what we decide to do. Yeah, so in comes the Jellicent. They're going to Hex us the whole way down. And once again, this is another really popular Pokemon that Sandslash does pretty well against. You've got the Shadow Claw, which is a legacy fast TM. It's definitely well worth it for this Pokemon, and we're just ripping through this Jellicent with Ampharos. Now, in order to throw in good timing against the free turn moves, you need to throw after 2. It is exceedingly difficult to throw after 2, so maybe sometimes throwing after 1 is good. Just as long as you don't throw after 0 and give them a full free one, that's about the best you can really hope for. I think we're going to commit to maybe a Farm down here. The opponent will get to another move. Hopefully we can live this, or is it just the Bubble Beam? It is just the Bubble Beam. We look to swap out to get in ahead in energy, and this is just a nightmare for this Pokemon. We do throw, I think, on bad timing, giving them a full Incinerate. It is a little bit awkward to throw in good timing, but I think typically throwing on 4 there is quite safe. Yep, so the opponent goes for Flame Charge. Did they undercharge that? That was interesting. So the opponent wants to get extra energy. Now we're already up to back-to-back Brutal Swings here, and we're even just above that now. We're going to fire off first one, the opponent shields it. Do we win CMP? We do win CMP, and I think this will look to take them out and put us in a really good position to close this game. Yep, boom, good night, and back in comes Jellicent. They just dumped off their Bubble Beam before they left, so they're completely dry. So we're seeing this team, it really core breaks this Jellicent core that you see very, very often. I'm just interested to see if we see a lot more Swamperts, and how we're going to look to deal with those. I think your real answer to it is going to be Toxicroak. Now in comes a Talonflame lead, amazing lead, and in comes Clefable. We're going to come in with our Poison type, but these Fairy Winds are neutral, so this is not like a super straightforward matchup. We will win CMP, and we'll see what the opponent decides to do here. They probably will look to fire off the Moonblast, and they're actually maybe committing to the Farm down, which could be a little bit rough. We do want to get off one more move on them. Meteor Mash coming through. Will they go for another move? I think they will be able to outpace us, but I think they're just committing to this Farm down. So we're most likely going to see a double shield. The opponent wants to take switch advantage, of course. They do not want to get lined up. And this could be a little bit tough here. And we need to get really, really far ahead in energy. And we can't really afford to shield this up, to be honest. This Meteor Mash is neutral because, of course, it is super effective against ice. And look at that, it does a lot of damage. We may end up having to throw a move here. Yeah, we're going to throw the move. And I think we're going to look to go for an Ice Punch. Or maybe just swap straight out, honestly. And hope that Ampharos can sweep because one Incinerate hurts a lot. Now the opponent swaps out into a Lapras, and we're going to go for the big Zap Cannon. How much damage will this do to big Lapras? This is super effective damage. It one-shots the Lapras, and at this point, we do have an Ice Punch banked, and we're going to shield this up. Very, very safe shield, even if it is a Flame Charge, which it is always going to be in this situation, and we're in a really good position here. We're throwing after 1. We just want to get this move off, of course, and at this point, the opponent's not going to get to another move. That's going to be a good game, really well played. Speaking of like some of my favourite Pokemon that's been buffed this season, Clefable's right up there, and it looks to be doing really well in the Ultra League now. It has really good coverage with Meteor Mash and Moonblast, and it wins a lot of CMP ties. It hits like a truck actually in the Ultra League and Great League. I've been using it in the single type cup a little bit. Very positive lead here, Walrein. Now sometimes these Walreins don't really have an answer, so yeah, in comes actually Swampert. So this is probably just Charizard in the back. Once again, we're going for this resisted Zap Cannon. You might be going for the debuff. That actually does quite a lot of damage. You know, in all fairness, I think the opponent might not have the best IVs here. That does a lot of damage. The opponent goes for the Hydro Cannon. They probably could have committed to the Earthquake right there, or maybe they would have got farmed down. In comes Cresselia. They're on Confusion here by the looks of things, which is just absolutely ripping through Toxicroak. But you're about to see here that Sandslash is going to come in and just resist the entire moveset against this thing. Big bulky Cresselia doesn't really stand much of a chance against this thing. Now, Sandslash, it's not the bulkiest Pokemon, so I was expecting that to do a little bit more damage actually. But of course, in the Ultra League, this Pokemon is XL, so it can take hits a little bit better. But of course, all of the other Pokemon are XL and higher level too, so they can put in a lot of work against Sandslash. We're going to get the shield off the opponent, swap straight out. The opponent has a Cresselia in the back, and we can maybe even look to commit to a whole farm down here. Just come out with multiple brutal swings, and you know, this thing is going to wall Cresselia in the back anyway. Yeah, so we're going to have to maybe shield up one more move, and we'll look to get off back-to-back brutal swings. The opponent is definitely on a funny moveset with the Confusion on this thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is Confusion. We just go for the move straight away. We've got pretty much 100 energy, and we don't have to do anything too fancy here. And yeah, this is going to be a good game. If the opponent shields it up, Sandslash is going to come in and just farm it down. And I don't think they're even going to get to that point. We get to another brutal swing. Ampharos is a fun Pokemon in this league. It is difficult to build around, but it definitely is a very good one. He has a good games well played. I just don't like going for Zap Cannons and Swampert, to be honest with you. I would prefer going for back-to-back Brutal Swing. Of course, you can go for the debuff, and this team is pretty weak to Swampert. And I guess, you know, to be fair, like, that done a lot of damage to Swampert, so maybe you know, maybe that's okay. But a very nice 4-1 set right there, and we're going to hop into the next set. So far so good with Sandslash. Definitely Talonflames are a little bit awkward, but we do have a very good answer for Talonflame in, of course, Ampharos. So let's hop into the next one, Ampharos versus Swampert. Again, just a very awkward Pokemon to deal with. I think we just kind of do have to say in here. Now, you've seen how much a Zap Cannon done to a non-shadow. This time we're going straight for this, which is good. So we'll see what the opponent wants to do. It looks like the opponent was throwing an alignment there, which was a CMP type. And we're going to look to swap into Toxicroak here to maybe look to go for a counter down. Now, we will have to eat another Hydro Cannon, but the opponent to swap out into a Charizard. And this Sludge Bomb from Toxicroak is going to do so much damage. This Pokemon's seeing a lot more play in the Ultra League, and look at that damage. At this point, we can just let it go. Or counter it down. Yeah, we can look to just basically go for a counter down, come out with energy, and if the Swampert comes back in, they're going to have to deal with this move. Back in does come the Swampert, and I think they're just at the Hydro Cannon here. So if the opponent is not too careful, oh yeah, they're in super low health, they're going to have to throw this off. And at this point, you can actually probably come in and Shadow Claw down, or if you don't want to risk it, come in with Ampharos. They're going to be close to another move, yeah, they do get to another one. So probably coming in here with Ampharos is maybe a little bit better. Yeah, we're just getting wrecked. And in comes a Lapras. So this thing, all of the moves are resisted basically except for Surf, and it takes a little while for them to get to Surf. Are they on Water Gun or Ice Shard? They're on Ice Shard, so that is a lot better for us here. We should just look to outpace this thing. We do go for a CMP. In general, against the free turn moves, you want to throw after 1, 4, and 7 for optimal timing. We do get the CMP there. This one Surf is going to hurt for sure. It's a Skull Bash! The opponent does not realise that it is resisted damage, and at this point, you don't have to throw in good timing at the very end. You just want to get off your move if you're thinking it's going to take them out. And of course it does. Back in comes Swampert with low health, and that's going to be a good game. So as you can see, we are able to deal with Swampert with Ampharos. It does take them a while to get to the Earthquake. That was my main concern with this team, and it looks like it's working pretty well so far. Hydro Cannons do a lot of damage for sure, so you just have to kind of try and deal with it. In comes a pretty awkward one. We don't want this on Sandslash. This thing knows Drill Run and Mega Horn. Drill Run would look to one-shot this thing, and we're going to respect this. Sometimes they do go Acid Spray, but they're going straight for the Drill Run. You know, being an awkward Pokemon, the one good thing about this is that it is quite glassy, and you can look to basically fire off multiple Brutal Swings, which will threaten this thing. Worst comes to worst, if you soft lose this, yeah, we're just going to come into Toxicroak straight away here, and we're up a shield. At this point, we're going to look to spam off maybe 2 Sludge Bombs. 1 Moonblast would look to take us out here, and I think probably what we'll do is save the shield for a Sandslash, and maybe come in and look to go for a Brutal Swing. Yeah, so we're going to let this Moonblast go. Will the opponent bait it? They do full send the Moonblast. Of course, we have the Joint Poison typing, so it doesn't quite one-shot us. I was expecting it to one-shot, to be fair, but again, in the Ultra League, Toxicroak is a little bit bulkier. We're putting in so much work on this thing. We resist this entire moveset now, and they're not going to get to enough moves to really like chip us down fully. They're going for Grass Knot here. I think they probably should just go for Moonblast, but I think they're going to get to 2 moves here no matter what. So, you know, I think it's not going to matter too much. 2 Grass Knots here. That probably is a little bit better. The opponent comes in and goes for a CMP tie. You do sort of have to respect this, and you're going to guarantee the knockout with this. And we're going to look to see what the opponent has in the back. So they've had Escavalier so far. Cresselia, is it just going to be... Okay, it's a fighter. You want to get straight out of here, but we do get off the Ice Punch, and the opponent is getting ahead in energy. So I think, I'm not too sure about this one. We'll see how this goes. Now the opponent, yeah, they're at the move already. Again, you know, this is kind of tough. Leaf Blade coming through, yeah. I just don't think there's a lot you could do against this thing, to be fair. If you do swap straight out, the opponent's going to outpace you anyway. So I guess your best hope is to try and get off a move, but that was just a very, very rough final Pokemon for this team. So yeah, let's hop on the next one, Ampharos. You don't see too many Surfetched lurking in the back, and Pidgeot, amazing lead, and amazing swap as well. We're going to come into Sandslash, and again, this thing just completely walls Cresselia, which is one of the main reasons I'm thinking about building it. In terms of IVs, I've had a look at IVs and things like that, and if you don't build like a rank 1, I think there are some benefits. You do get some breakpoints with Shadow Claw. You can see the IVs on screen here as well, and you know, it's not 100% necessary. I think I will look to build a pretty decent one, like a slightly attack weighted one, and I think this Pokemon definitely has a good place in this meta. Like I said, if you think about that Fairy and Dragon and Steel type comp, think of the Pokemon you're going to be running into. Giratina, super effective Ice Punch and super effective Shadow Claw, right? We've got all the Dragons, you're hitting them for super effective. You've got all the Steel types, you're hitting them for super effective. You've got things like Galarian Weezing, you're hitting them for super effective. This thing is going to be really good in that cup. I think it was good in the cup previously with Bulldoze, but Drill Run just sets this Pokemon up on a different level. Now, the opponent does go for an aggro swap right here. We're just going to meet them with this, and they're going to be in an absolute shambles. You don't even have to shield the Brave Bird. It won't one-shot, it will hurt, but I probably would just let this move go, to be honest with you. I don't think it one-shots from this range. We're going to look to go for the Zap Cannon. We're going to CMP the opponent on the Zap Cannon. This will, of course, definitely one-shot them, debuffed or not, and we're going to see what they have in the back. It is Cobalion, maybe a little bit of an awkward Pokemon. I feel like Toxicroak might actually be fine against Cobalion, because you do have the resistance with the poison typing. We're going to get a little bit of chip on this thing, definitely get it into Mud Bomb range, and that's going to be all she wrote for this. Yeah, Mud Bomb coming through. This should come very close to taking out, if not taking out, a Pidgeot. When you see a Pidgeot lead, you almost always see a Cobalion in the back. So that's a good little team read to make. It's a team that I'm actually going to be using. Shout out to Purple Kyogre. I actually just built my Jellicent yesterday, and it's one of his go-to teams. Jellicent, Pidgeot, and of course Cobalion. So yeah, when you do see that Pidgeot lead, it is pretty common to see Cobalion in the back. Now we see a Combo, and this thing is probably quite awkward actually. Unless you have a direct answer to this thing, it's just kind of awkward. Now, but looks of things are on Dragon Tail and Dragon Claw here. That does hurt quite a lot. Looks like we're full sending the Sludge Bomb. We'll see if the opponent respects it or not. This thing can definitely take Switch off us. Yep, so they're going to look to take Switch. Yeah, they're farming us the whole way down, coming out with energy. This is a little bit of an awkward Pokemon for our whole team, and the opponent's just going for the straight swap. Now, you're going to see the power of this Pokemon right here. We throw straight away in here, which turns out to be good timing because of the desync. I think that might have been... Yeah, I think we just denied the opponent. In general, though, you want to throw after... this is a CMP now, so we threw after 6 being a CMP. This thing can do Earthquake. I feel like it's unlikely to just dump it straight away, though. Probably Psychic Fang's coming through here. They do full send the Earthquake, so fantastic shield right here. And the opponent's looking to be in a bad position. We're throwing an alignment here, but that's perfectly fine. This one move will KO. And yeah, we're going to look to see what the opponent comes in with. They come in with a Sandslash of their own, and up a shield, and up energy. The opponent does go for the catch and the snipe, but this is perfectly fine at this point. We can look to maybe go for a slight overfarm here, look to get off an Ice Punch. Beautiful play here, getting off the Ice Punch on this thing, and it's going to leave us ahead in energy on the Oller Sandslash. I believe the opponent was 2 off the drill run, so I think he would have just straight outpaced them. We do come into Ambrose, which is safe enough anyway, and that's going to be a good game. If the opponent dumps off energy in Ambrose, they just lose. So that's going to be a good game, and well played. So yeah, nice energy management there to get ahead in energy and maintain that advantage you have on the Sandslash. So very well played, and man, like this Pokemon, it just looks like a lot of fun. I feel like it definitely gets walled by a lot of things, like Cobalion and Scrafty, of course. Scrafty could be an awkward one for this team in general. But we have a very good lead here, and in comes Surfetch. Now, is this just going to be a double counter line? When you see a Surfetch safe swap, you just almost guarantee that it's going to be double counter. Now we're going to let this one go. It is the Brave Bird. The opponent just is an absolute psycho here. They're just full sending Brave Birds. I probably would have just let that go, to be fair. Yeah, and it is a double counter backline. Now these Mud Bombs are going to do a ton of damage to this thing, being the poison typing. Yep, 2 will take this out. The opponent will be forced to shield. And this is just game over already. There's just nothing the opponent can do here. Yeah, we could actually even just shield back and just go for another Mud Bomb at this point. Which I wouldn't even mind. Like, you're just you're just wrecking them here. We can even look to commit to a counter down. Yeah, so this is game over. Lapras cannot do anything really against both of our back Pokemon. The Lapras will be able to, you know, put in some work, but like, you know, this is just over at this point. We're going straight for the Zap Cannon. I think the opponent is incentivized to call a bait here. Will the opponent respect it? They do respect it, and they get the attack drop as well. Now the opponent can go for Surfs, which will be debuffed, and I think it'll take them 3 Surfs to take us out at this range. Yeah, it'll take even more probably. Maybe 4 Surfs to take us out. At this point, we're going to go for drill runs, going to take them out, and that's going to be a good game and good video. So we've had 2 4-1 sets with this, and thank you very much to Eplit for sending these in. Very much appreciated. Guys, send in some battles for the single type cop. I'll definitely be uploading some of my own gameplay here quite shortly. But thank you very much everybody for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you very much for all the support in the videos, and feel free to join us in Discord. And also there'll be a link to Eplit's Twitter in the comment section down below as well. Thank you very much, dude. I very much appreciate these battles. Thank you everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for a brand new video.